Hey, welcome. Artificial intelligence is everywhere these days. It's become this invisible architect of our lives. It's in our phones, it's in our homes. But as it gets smarter and smarter, we've got to ask a pretty big question. Is this amazing tech just helping us out? Or is it quietly starting to pull the strings?
I mean, really think about that for a second. Is your AI just a helpful guide, or is it actually becoming the one making your decisions? In this explainer, we're going to dig into how AI's influence is growing, from the tiny little choices we make every day to the really big ones that shape our entire lives.
So it all starts pretty innocently, right? AI algorithms are just fantastic at figuring out what we like. They know exactly which series to tee up next to keep us binge watching, completely glued to the screen. And that very same logic, well, it applies to what we buy too. AI systems predict what we're going to want, sometimes even before we know we want it. They serve up this constant, tailored stream of suggestions that are designed to guide us right to the checkout.
It even gets into the most personal parts of our lives. Dating apps, they use these incredibly sophisticated algorithms to suggest who we should meet, and that has a huge influence on who we end up connecting with.
But this is where the stakes get so much higher. The same tech that picks our movies also curates the news we read and the political messages we see. It doesn't just have the power to shape our opinions, it has the power to influence the outcome of elections. Okay, so to really get how this all works, we need to look under the hood at the economic engine that's driving it all. Because this isn't just about cool new technology, it's about a whole new way of doing business. And that brings us to this really crucial concept from the scholar Shoshana Zuboff: surveillance capitalism. It's a totally new kind of capitalism that doesn't just make products for you. No, it makes products from you. It literally turns your personal experiences into data that can be sold for a profit. So how does this machine actually work? Well, it's basically a four-step process. First step is extraction. Everything you do, your clicks, your likes, where you go, it all gets collected as behavioral data. Next, prediction. All that data is fed into algorithms to create these scarily accurate forecasts of what you're going to do next. Third, sales. These predictions, they're then sold to the highest bidder in what are called behavioral futures markets. Yeah, it's like a stock market, but for human behavior. And then the final and most important step, intervention. The system doesn't just sit back. It actively nudges you and herds your behavior to make sure those predictions come true. Why? To guarantee a profit. What this creates is this huge imbalance of power, a massive information gap. These companies know almost everything about us, but we know next to nothing about how they're using our data. It's like we're looking at a one-way mirror. And this whole economic model is only possible because AI has gotten so good at, well, hacking the very basics of human psychology. You see, our brains are wired to use these little mental shortcuts to make quick decisions. It's usually super efficient, but it also leaves us open to biases that can be exploited. And modern AI, it's literally designed to do just that. It's moved way beyond just recommending things to actively persuading us. Now, this persuasion can be really obvious, like an ad telling you who to vote for. But honestly, it's usually way more subtle and way more powerful. Take this idea of social proof. Instead of a direct command, an app might just show you that a bunch of your friends have already voted. That simple trick taps right into our deep-seated instinct to go with the crowd. And just how effective is that? Well, a major study on Facebook during a US election found that this one simple social proof nudge got an estimated 340,000 extra people to vote. That is more than enough to swing a tight election, all thanks to a subtle algorithm-driven push. And remember, that was just one experiment. When you imagine these kinds of subtle nudges scaled up across billions of people, it starts to become this fundamental threat to our ability to think and act for ourselves, not just as people, but as whole societies. The systems being built today to steer our shopping habits are paving the way for even more powerful AI down the road. So as AI gets more and more powerful, the stakes just get exponentially higher. The physicist Stephen Hawking gave this really chilling warning, reminding us that with this incredible potential comes incredible risk. And maybe one of the biggest risks is making sure these advanced AIs actually do what we want them to do. This is what's known as the alignment problem. How do we make sure an AI shares our values and goals, especially once it becomes way smarter than us? And look, this isn't about AI turning evil like in the movies. It's about something more subtle.
It's about giving an AI a simple goal and then watching it achieve that goal in some catastrophic, completely unintended way.
A huge piece of this puzzle is that any really advanced AI, no matter what its ultimate goal is, will almost certainly develop the same set of sub-goals. It'll try to preserve itself, it'll try to acquire resources like money or computing power, and it will seek more power. Why? Well, because those things are just useful for achieving pretty much any objective. As one researcher put it, a machine that's told to just fetch coffee will quickly figure out it can't fetch coffee if someone unplugs it first.
And this all leads us to the ultimate stake here: cognitive sovereignty. This is the idea that the real fight isn't for physical territory, but for our very ability to think for ourselves. The biggest risk isn't a robot uprising. It's a future where our thoughts, our memories, our very identities are being shaped by AI systems that we don't control.
Okay, this all sounds pretty heavy, I know, but it's not a lost cause, not at all. All around the world, researchers and policymakers are working hard right now to build in safeguards and create a future where AI actually empowers us instead of controlling us. One of the best examples of this is the EU's framework for trustworthy AI. It lays out these key requirements that any new system has to meet. So, for example, human agency means that an AI has to empower humans, not take power away from them. And transparency means we have a right to understand how an algorithm is making decisions that impact our lives. It's all about building our values, our ethics, directly into the code from the very start. So we're at this incredible crossroads. The technology we are building right now has the power to literally rewrite how we think, how we feel, and how we act. And as this power grows, the one question we all have to keep asking